Today we're gonna be building a Redwood Outdoors barrel sauna. For those of you that have been following the channel for a while, you know that I'm a huge fan of saunas, one, because of their health benefits, and two, they just look really cool at short-term rentals. And people just love being able to experience nature while getting all the health benefits of a sauna. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down exactly how to build this Redwood Outdoors barrel sauna, and there's even a deck built into the front. You'll see in a little bit, it's super cool. We just got the lid off here, and you can see everything we got in there, the little bucket for ladling all the water out, all of our cool circular pieces with the windows in them, and underneath all this are the two giant glass panels that'll be looking out over the cliff there. Let's get this unloaded. One of my favorite things about building these is it smells so good while you're building it. All this freshly milled and heat treated cedar, it's a little party for the nose. Also, if you guys wouldn't mind liking this video and subscribing to the channel, we're on a goal to hit 100,000 subs by the end of the year. So definitely subscribe and like this video. Oh. All right, we don't want to drop these. These are the giant glass panorama windows. Oh. Serious, stuff smells good. Link in description, you can get a big discount. So everything is unloaded now, and this is one of the most important steps because last time I was so excited to get a sauna that I just dumped everything on the ground. You want to make sure you're looking at the ends of these boards, putting all the right boards in the same pile, because even though a lot of these wood slats look the same, they actually have slight variations and they're meant to go on certain sides of the sauna, integrate with the deck differently. So take your time unloading, make sure you keep it nice and organized because it'll save you a ton of time in the long run. So all that you're gonna need to do this is a few wrenches, a drill with a 1/2-inch drill bit, hammer, measuring tape, impact, laser level. You guys know this is my favorite tool. I'll link it down below. The negotiator, actually, I don't know if you actually need that. That's just for if something misbehaves. And then a nice level or marking device. I got a pencil over there, and then Redwood also provides these awesome QR codes that lead you to assembly videos if my video isn't good enough for you. So these are the 3 mounts that are going to be holding the barrel sauna, and if you remember, mine only had 2 of these because mine was quite a bit shorter, but this one, because it has that attached deck, it's actually a little bit longer, so they have a 3rd support here. Something I like about these mounts is that because they are black, it's gonna make the barrel almost seem like it's floating here on the platform, especially when we get closer to blue hour and everything gets a little shadowy and darker. The cedar here and the cedar of the barrel are gonna contrast really well and make it seem like the barrel's just this orb floating on the platform. So this first board that goes here, you can see it's rounded on both sides, which means that is your starting board, and you line up the pre-drill holes with where these bases go. Also, because I know my deck is square, I can line these up with the deck to make sure that it does stay nice and square. You can see what I mean. These pre-drill holes are lined up perfectly down the middle of these, so when we set screws, there's something actually to anchor into, just like that. So last time I built a barrel out at the Cedar Hollow, they ended up having these Phillips head screws, which I just kept stripping out, and it's hard. If you hit like a knot in the wood, it would just strip out the screw, and I had to start a whole new screw. But this time they changed them out with these little star tip bits. If you guys have worked around construction at all, you know that star tip bits are way harder to strip out and way better in my opinion. So they've completely changed out their hardware to be all these star tip bits, which that was one of my biggest gripes after I built the last one. So it's cool to see the company innovating like that. 25.5 there, about 25.5 there. Love it. So we'll go set this first screw. So before we start putting all the boards running up the sides here, we do want to make sure that we are square, corner to corner. 93.25. Oh wow, 93.25. That's like right on. Sweet. That never happens. I actually lined it up with the outside here and then lined these up with all my deck boards because I know my deck boards are perfectly square. So you can see that little tiny reveal. And then this gap is the same. And then I also double checked this corner point over to that corner point and this corner point to that one, and they are the same measurements. So next we fill in the cradle, and this will make it so these guys can't adjust side to side because it'll build out a nice rigid platform. You also want to make sure that these grooves are perfectly lined up. So I forgot my rubber hammer, so I tied a towel around the metal negotiator here, so I'll be able to really tap these boards into place so it's nice and snug. Make sure those are lined up. So now this thing's getting a little heavy, let's center it. Oh. We're gonna scooch it forward for now to give me a little working room so I don't fall off the cliff over here. Now, we'll do the other half here. Okay, so I've squared everything up both side to side and front to back. Well, I guess I left a little more room in the front so people can stand with their towels before they actually go in. And then we scooch the sauna as far back as possible, well, without me having to like dangle off the edge, so that it feels like you're falling off into the forest when you're sitting inside the sauna. Now we're gonna do the front wall, and it looks assembled, and that's because it is, and it comes in 3 pieces. So you have this middle piece with the glass door, and make sure to keep this red piece of twine on so that way your door doesn't randomly flop open and go hit something and break. So keep that on. Then you have this half moon here, which just slots into the side, this half moon here, which just slots into the other side, and then you fasten it in these 6 spots along each side. You want to make sure it's all squared and lined up. You see, we'll have to push this down. And then it's just these 6 screws on each side. 6 there, 2, 4, 6 over there. And then this front wall is ready to be installed. Okay, so now one of the parts I hate the most, which is handling the glass, because I really don't want to break it. I didn't do this step when I built mine, but I wish I had. You see these tiny little markings on the glass. You want to put them both on the same side. Mine was actually flipped, which it does work either way because they're both the same size, whether you flip them upside down. I didn't like that you could see that tiny little mark on the glass. So you'll just want to make sure that those are on the lower part so that they're behind the heater. To join these two together, you put this piece right over top, and then you just fasten it down, just like that. Just like that, you got one solid, huge panorama piece of glass. Woo. Gosh, that part is not fun. And you want to make sure that these windows are higher up because the benches fit right here. Looks really good. And we'll always do a little gut check from over here. Looks pretty good to me. Well guys, life has been very hectic lately. I feel like there's always a million things going on, and finding the time to get out to the grocery store and cook up a nice healthy meal just feels like it's at the very bottom of my list, which is where Factor comes into play. For you guys that know, I've been using Factor for almost the last year now, and I'm a huge fan of Factor. Getting a restaurant quality meal delivered right to my door, and all I have to do is throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes, poke some holes in the top so it can vent out. It just makes my life so much simpler. And just to prove that things have been pretty hectic lately, this is my camera right now. I'm currently filming this on my iPhone because I was filming a video today and it was pouring rain, and I think I broke my camera, so hopefully I didn't. But Factor has been huge for me because of how flexible they are. My schedule is all over the place. Sometimes I'm out of the state, sometimes I'm back home. I'm able to easily customize how many meals are getting delivered out to my door, and they're actually delicious, healthy meals. Keeping up on my protein, keeping me well fed. I'm sure my metabolism's gonna be slowing down sometime soon, so eating healthy meals and skipping the fast food trap is huge. You also don't have to worry about eating the same food week after week after week. Factor has up to 35 options weekly, whether it's vegan, protein plus, keto, like smart calorie. There's so many options you're able to choose from. And for all my fellow entrepreneurs, you know that time is money, and getting the time back while still being able to eat healthy is massive, because if your health starts to tank, so will your productivity. So that's where Factor comes in and really helps me to stay on top of my game. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code 50DEVONLORP to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first Factor box. That's code 50DEVONLORP at factor75.com to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. This is like a 10-foot drop right here. So, don't want to drop the glass, and I don't want to drop myself. You know what? I'm going on the inside. I don't like that. Oh gosh, that trips me out. I want to get these other boards on as soon as possible. But that looks really cool. Let's go make sure it's level. That looks perfect. So check it out. We got both the end glass on, the door here, and then this is where that little bench part I was talking about will be. So now we start setting all of these boards, just like clip on, just like that. And we'll start setting some screws initially, and then we'll start nailing them all the way up here. We're gonna go check, make sure this door swings well, and then we're gonna put this cool Redwood Outdoors handle on it. You honestly probably wanna use a screwdriver for these two screws, just so that you don't like torque down on it too much and accidentally shatter the glass. Then just as a gut check, I use my auto level laser. So you can see this laser in here has a little float, so it perfectly sets a perfectly vertical line. You can see on my finger right there, which is lined up with this edge, you can see the laser on my fingers. And then also here at the top, you can faintly see the laser. So that means that this whole section is perfectly level. So now we're gonna start installing all of the outside parts of the barrel. So we're gonna start screwing these on, making sure they're pushed all the way down, and we'll be screwing and nailing into this whole face here until we have a nice barrel. Okay, so this is what we have so far. I got these boards pretty far along. I probably stopped 1 or 2 boards short from the very top there, but I'm gonna start building up this side then, and I'll show you how we terminate it at the top. And also you'll notice I wasn't nailing every single one. Once they get to be just resting on this wall, gravity will help to hold them in place temporarily. And then when we put the big bands around it, that's what gives this thing a ton of strength. Okay, so the way that we finish filling this gap is with these guys right there. So you can see this board slots in just like that, and it perfectly matches to that one. And we do the same thing with this guy. So that's close enough. I'm gonna go hammer it down on the other side. So the install manual says that it's fine if there's that little tiny gap. We probably have a 1/16. It says it can be up to a 1/4 inch. But because we didn't nail down every single one of these boards, some of them are sticking off the barrel a little bit. But once we put the big band all the way around, that'll close this gap and make it super tight. Okay, so now for the straps. And these are what give the barrel its real structure, because these metal bands aren't going anywhere once you've cinched them down. The all thread's gonna go through that. And then this next little spacer is gonna sit on the underside like that. Then just one of the regular nuts, screw it on over there. Then we'll put one of these cap nuts on, so it looks nice and clean. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. So now what I'm gonna do is tighten these 2 normal nuts against the washer. So my personal opinion is I really like the look of these things. So I like to put them on like the client facing side. I think it's really cool to see all this hardware that straps your barrel together. But some people don't like them, so they're like tuck them underneath. It really doesn't matter where you have the actual bracket itself, but I think it looks cool. Also keep in mind that if you're in a wet climate and you have the shingles for the barrel, you'll wanna put this hardware down low so that it doesn't interact with your roofing system, and then you would eventually just have to undo it and retighten it down lower. So I'm making sure it's below the halfway point of the barrel. So I like to get it nice and snug, and then once all 3 of the bands are on, go tighten them down really well. So check it out, we got all 3 of these bands all the way on, cinched on super tight, and this thing just feels like a rock now that all those bands are on. So just look at that view inside. So I'm gonna scooch it even closer to the edge over there so it just feels like you're falling off this. But before we do that, I'm gonna put these trim pieces on, just like that. Oh, also you can see that gap now, there's absolutely no gap. It's completely tight. So we're gonna put on all these trim pieces, and that'll be what we roof to. here's another mistake I made on my sauna is I put the little towel hook to this side of the door, but you actually want to put it on this side, because if you hang your towel here while the door's open and then you try and shut the door, it gets caught on the towel and you have to do that little like throw the towel out, tuck it in, shut the door. So lesson learned, throw it on this side. There we go. That way, show up, throw the towel, open the door, and it doesn't get stuck in this little crack. So then of course you gotta have your little bowl, your little ladle for pouring on all the heater. Okay, and then this guy sits right here, which will actually have a housing that comes in around it, but we don't have that quite yet, but you get the idea of how it's gonna look in here. So we'll be doing the shingles tomorrow, but this will be part of the drip edge where the shingles hang off of, so that the barrel inside doesn't get sopping wet whenever it rains. So then of course you gotta get your temperature and humidity reader. Let's hook it right there. There you go, got temperature and humidity. All right, welcome back to day 2, guys. If you live in rainy climates, you definitely wanna put a roof on this, otherwise you're gonna have your cedar rotting out way quicker, just with water constantly sitting on it. So what we're gonna be doing is taking this waterproof roofing barrier and layering them across the sauna there, and also putting a rubberized adhesive along this joint, just so that when water does get on this crack here, it filters back to the shingles and rolls down. So let's go put this on. All right, so we got the vapor barrier on now. We're gonna start with these cool shingles that Redwood Outdoors provides, and they have these little like V grooves, and it gives you a cool like honeycomb look at the end. So what we're gonna do is cut off these on the first row, so we have a nice clean line at the bottom, and then we'll start shingling these all the way up. So here, let's cut this off. So now all we gotta do is set these just like that, and you wanna make sure that the tar side, so the darker part, is sticking down so it adheres to this and then makes a really solid barrier once it heats up over the summer and in the warmer months. And here's the finished product, guys. I love how it turned out. The cedar contrasting the moody forest in the background, the shingles keeping it dry in the winter. I just love these barrel saunas from Redwood Outdoors. So if you are interested in picking one up yourself, I know they have some crazy holiday deals going on right now. So be sure to check out the link down below. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you to all my channel members, and we'll see you in the next one.